So that's why we're doing this. Oh, I should, pull up the prompts on my computer so I can, read about them. Weird. Hello everybody, my name is Kelsey, and we're about to get very, very nerdy with the month of readathons. In June, I am participating in 2 separate month-long readathons because clearly I hate myself, and also these are both readathons that I am ridiculously excited about, and I couldn't choose one, so I tried to cross over books as much as possible. I think I did that. But also I premiered my new TBR game, which I will leave linked above, and I was able to fit the 5 books that I picked from that into this TBR as well. So I don't know what's going to happen in June. We're going to vlog this month just so that we can document my misery, if anything else. It's going to be a month. Also, both of the readathons that I'm doing this month, you're not allowed to double up on prompts. So I'm hoping to double up from separate readathons so that I can choose the same books for each readathon, roughly. But who knows? Like I said, I'm participating in 2 readathons, so I'm going to be doing basically 2 halves of this video because I didn't want to have 3 separate TBR videos. That's ridiculous. So I'm doing 2 of the readathons together in one. I will leave the announcement videos to both of them down below if you want to see the full thing. But the first one that I'm going to be talking about is the Make Your Myth Taker readathon, which is put on by the Myth Take Book Club, hosted by Charlotte and Ashley from A Frolic Through Fiction. I will, like I said, leave Ashley's video down below because she's the one who announced this one. Basically, you're creating your own person, and you only have to do 4 prompts this month, 1 per week. But if you want to be extra, you can be extra. And I have an entire, plan for my person. So I'm gonna do 4 for sure, and then maybe 4 more. However, a prompt on each person's crosses. So, I'm gonna read the same because it's the same prompt basically. But let me just kind of explain what I'm talking about. You can choose a person and that's your path. You have 4 kind of prompts for that person. However, after that prompt, you can go and do extra things, become extra people, have extra things put on top of your person to make them even more fantastic. What you can also do is if halfway through your reading you decide, I don't like the 4th prompt in this book, I actually want to be this person now. You can change your prompt based on the crossover. So the 2 people that I want to do actually cross over each other, which is why the 3rd prompt is the same for both of them. But let's talk about my character. I decided to go with the sorceress first and then add-ons later, but we'll talk about that as we go. So the first prompt is, you are something more than these mere humans. Read a book featuring a non-human main character. So the book that I'm choosing for this prompt is the second in the Infernal Devices Clockwork Prince. Really bad at this. But it's this one, and I decided to choose this for this one because all of the characters in this are either shadow hunters or downworlders, and they are not fully human. So this is just the next one in the series, and I'm excited to get started on it. Your magic shines through. Read a book with a foiled cover. So I think this one actually counts. I'm going to go with Longborn by Joe Baker because the Longborn part I think is shiny and would be considered foiling. I think so. This is the story of Pride and Prejudice, but from a maid's perspective. Housemaid. Yeah, so it follows Sarah, who is an orphaned housemaid who works in the house that the Bennet sisters live in, aka Longborn. And I believe she falls in love or has stirrings for the new footman. I'm excited. It's kind of like a reimagining of Pride and Prejudice from a different perspective, and that's all I needed to know. Goddess, Queen, it's clear you're meant to rule. Your divine presence puts you at the top of your hierarchy. Read the highest rated book on your TBR. And I went to Goodreads, and according to my Goodreads, it is The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Am I surprised? Not at all. This was also my fiction TBR pick, so I was able to fit this one in, and I'm very excited about it. I'm hoping to find the audiobook on Scribd or something so I can listen along while I read. But I'm excited to see what all the hype is about. I think it's been long enough between now and when it was really hyped that, like, I can go into it with a clear mind and kind of see why everyone loved it so much and also, like, separate it from the hype. So I'm excited. Divine Intervention, randomize your TBR. So I might be cheating just a little bit on this one because I decided to go with my nonfiction TBR pick, which is random, kind of. But I'm going to be going with For Women Only, which you cannot see. And this is by Shanti Feldham. But this is a book that was gifted to me by a friend that I used to work with right before I got married. It's all about, like, getting into a man's head, basically, and I'm really skeptical about going into this one. But I do want to read it for her because she did give it to me, and I am curious, and it's not very long, so I think I can get through it relatively quickly. So we'll see. I'm not sure if I'm going to love it, but I decided to put it in my I decided to put it in my TBR jar for her because I do want to read it to see if I enjoy it, and we'll see what happens. But this was my TBR pick, so I'm going to count that as, like, a randomized TBR. So now that I have become a full-fledged goddess, I think my life is perfect. I think I'm ready to spread magic and love throughout the land. However, a little sneaky prince catches my eye, and we fall in love. So I decide that I'm going to keep my magic and keep my goddess ways and still do the awesome work that I'm trying to do to bring joy to the land. But I'm going to also train to be a monarch because this prince is going to become a monarch and a king. So I need to learn the ways of royalty. We always love seeing ourselves in the things that we read. Read a book with a queen as a main character. So I think this one will count. But I decided to go with the 5th in the School for Good and Evil, A Crystal of Time by Soman Chainani, because there's not really a queen in here yet. However, Sophie and Agatha are both princesses about to become queens. So, like, there's the possibility of becoming a queen. And I feel like because I am already a goddess trying to become a queen, this will count. Some of the characters in here are called queens even though they're not quite married to a king yet. So I'm going to count this one because it's close enough. This die is awfully expensive. Maybe it's only fit for royalty. Read a book with at least one royal color on the cover, red, gold, or purple. And the book I have actually has both red and gold on it. And that is 4321 by Courtney Stevens. This, as you can see, is all kinds of red. But also I think this is technically gold. And, like, her blonde hair is gold. But it's red, so we're going to count that one. But this one is from my TBR basket. This follows 5 different people, and about a year before this book started, there was a giant bus explosion where 19 people died, including the bomber, and we have 4 teens who survived, and the girlfriend of the bomber come back to this place because there's, like, an art installation to commemorate what was left of it. So it's going to be hard-hitting. I'm going to feel all the feels, but it's red. Your noble rule as monarch has earned you deification. Welcome to immortality, the highest of all gifts. Read the highest rated book on your TBR. And this one I'm going to also use for that, which is The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. Ah, here we see the reigning monarch of the bookshelves. Reread a favorite. And for that, I have decided to go with Brave New World by Aldous Huxley. This one actually has Brave New World and then Brave New World Revisited, which is a gigantic essay at the end of it. So technically, this book ends here. So that's Brave New World, and this is the essay. So I'm going to focus on Brave New World and not the essay. This one is just a fun, like, classic sci-fi that I read when I was a senior in high school, and I remember absolutely loving this book. But I remember, like, zero about it. So I decided to go into this one again and try to remember why I liked it so much. I don't know. I'm excited about it. So that's going to be my reread a favorite. Because I honestly, like, remember almost zero about this. So that was everything that I'm going to reading for my Myth Take Readathon. But now I am also going to be talking about the next one that I'm reading, which is the Olympic Games Readathon, which is put on by a ton of different booktubers. But the one that I saw was Ishi from Ishi Time, so I'll leave her announcement video down below. But basically, it's based on the Percy Jackson series. There are 12 teams, 12 goddesses and gods, and each god or goddess in their team has 5 prompts, and then those are the 5 that you have to do, and then beyond that there are a handful of advanced prompts. I am on Team Aphrodite, so I'm going to be doing her 5 prompts, but she also has 3 advanced prompts as well. So let's just go into the ones I'm going to read for her, which will almost all look familiar. Hi! So before we get to the books that I'm going to read this month, I did want to mention a couple things because I did pre-film this video. So there have been a couple of changes. I know that I personally have changed a few things on my TBR, so check back for the vlogs that I will be doing this month, not the first week, but the other weeks after that. So I can talk about what I've kind of like changed. There's not a whole lot that I have changed, but there are some books that I've decided to rearrange a little bit. But the one that I did want to mention here is that there was a group book for the Olympic Games, and that was Lovely War by Julie Berry. They have decided not to use this as the group book anymore because it is set during World War I and II, and because of that, there are some racial slurs in this book, and they were unaware of that when they picked it. So they decided to change their mind on this, and I know that there is a poll on a few books that they decided to change it to. Whatever this one goes for, I think the one that's going to win would work for the prompt that I have this one in later, so I might rearrange that one. But I just wanted to pop on in here and real quick and say that like this book will change. I'm not going to be reading this one this month. I decided that I would like to read the group book instead, whatever they choose. So just wanted to mention that before I go into the actual books that I picked, but back to pre-recorded Kelsey. So the first prompt: Aphrodite is often invested in the love and lives of mortals. Read a romance to curb her curiosity. So I'll be reading Longborn by Jo Baker because I believe there is a romance between the main character, which is the maid, and the new footman. So yes. Read a book with a cover you think is beautiful, and for that one I'm going to choose 4321 by Courtney Stevens, just because I love the artwork on this cover. I think it's just like fantastic. The next one is to read a book with a strong, independent female main character, and for that one I'm going to be choosing the group book because the Olympic Games does have a group book, and that is Lovely War by Julie Berry. This one follows Aphrodite, ironically. Oh look! I didn't even mean to do that. I would consider her a strong female main character. I would consider her the main character because she is the narrator. This book also can fit in for any prompt, so like it doesn't actually have to fit, but I think it does anyway. But that's what I'm going to choose for that one. Aphrodite speaks fondly of her daughter Juliet and her short-lived romance with Romeo. Read a classic novel in remembrance of them. So I'll be reading Brave New World by Aldous Huxley because it is a classic sci-fi. As his lover, Aphrodite spends a lot of time with Ares. Complete a prompt that honors him. So you have to go over to his thing and kind of look at all of the prompts that he's got. So for me, I've decided to go with Ares is quick to jump into battle without analyzing the situation. Read a book that you don't know that much about. And for me, I'm going to be reading Moxie. Oh, I forgot the author's name. Jennifer this book. So this is the book that I'm going to go with because I really don't know that much about this book, but my best friend picked this one for me because a prompt came up in the TBR basket where she had to pick a book, and she picked this one, so we're gonna go with this one. And also, like, I know like almost nothing about this book. Those are the main 5, and like I said, I have 3 advanced prompts, so we're gonna go into those now because if I fit things for them, that would be great. Actually, 2 of the books in here are books that I need to read for my TBR basket. This month is going to be hectic. Anyway, the first one is Archery, which is to read a book shorter than 200 pages. So I'll be reading Every Heart a Doorway by Shauna Maguire. This came up for my TBR basket. And this one follows a bunch of kids who found portals to different worlds and have come back to the real world. And they're in this home trying to like figure out how to survive, I guess, to deal with the fact that they are now back in the real world from their portal world. This is a series that I've always wanted to start. So it's very short, and I love that one of the prompts here was read a short book. The next advanced prompt is Canoeing, which is to read a book with a blue cover. So for that, I'm going to be doing Arusha and the Song of Death by Roshan Choctany. This is the second in the Arusha series. That's not the name of it, but it's blue on the cover, and I'm excited. I don't know a whole lot about what this one's going to be about, but it does follow Aru and her new best friend, Minnie, and I believe a couple other people as they try to figure out some stuff. I loved the first one so much that I obviously had to go ahead and get the second one from the library and try it out. The next prompt and final prompt is Pegasus Writing, which is to read a book published within the last 5 years. And for this, I'm going to be choosing The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid because it was published in 2017, I want to say. Yes, so that was within the last 5 years. And also it fits multiple prompts for multiple readathons, which is great. So those are the 10, I think, books that I'm hoping to read this month, which is not terrible because Owls had 12 and I was able to do that. So I was stressing at first, but now I'm not stressing as much. I think I'll be okay. But that's it. Those are the books that I'm reading for both the Make Your Myth Taker readathon and the Olympic Games readathon. Like I said, I'll leave the announcement videos down below. I'm very excited. But that's it. Those are the books that I'm reading for both of those readathons. I hope you enjoyed this hectic, crazy, jam-packed video. If you did, make sure to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe down below if you want to be part of this awesome growing family. I have all my social media down there as well if you would like to follow along on any of those. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!